Question: what is the advice for Salafi sisters who are affected by feminist ideologies and thinking, and they believe that all men are evil and oppressive? When we look at the history of the feminist movement and its various stages, and its having reached its fullest form at the period of time after the two world wars, and having built up for a couple of 100 years before that, and from the 18th century up until that point, in the minds of the so-called Enlightenment thinkers and the various revolutionary thinkers, and who practiced the revolutionary faith and of changing society by way of thawrat and inqilabat and these sorts of things, then we say a number of things. One, that these ideologies, that they are dhulumat ba'duha fawqa ba'd, that they are compounded, that they are premised upon compounded layers of darkness. All of them being alwan min ilhad, all of them being different variations and shades of atheism, of pure, unadulterated, blatant atheism. And so feminist ideologies as they exist in the world today and are prevalent in the world today, they are premised upon the ideas of generations of atheists, whose entire belief system was to give authority and preeminence and control to the impulses of the self. And this is what they refer to as the culture of authenticity. For a person to be their true self and to actualize their purpose in life, they must turn inwardly, and that everything external of religious belief, no matter what that religion may be, or political systems as they existed beforehand, that it is to be discarded, and that authority and primacy is to be assigned to the self and the whims of the self and the desires of the self. And this is what will ensure the greater good of society. And this is what existed in the ideas of Immanuel Kant and of Voltaire and Rousseau and generations of so-called Enlightenment thinkers. And those who came after them, of the revolutionaries, and those who came after them, of the Marxist and the communist and the socialist, and those who came after them, of the new left, and the ideas of people like Herbert Marcuse and others who openly took the ideas of the Marxists and merged them with the ideas of Sigmund Freud and called to the sexual revolution. Including that is the gay agenda. Including that is every type of immorality. And they said that this is what will free society. And this is the definition of freedom and liberty in order for people to be happy. That the most repressive thing that needs to be overthrown is what they call the patriarchy. The patriarchy, meaning the family itself that is governed by and cared over and shepherded by the father. And they believe that men were the enemies of society, and that men are preventing, that the fathers are preventing people from progressing. And they made this their rule and the linchpin of their entire ideology, for a Muslim woman to be duped by so many layers of stupidity and not to be able to see through the agendas of such people is very unfortunate. It is very unfortunate. It is very pessimistic. It is very pessimistic. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala has created within men a natural ri'ayah, whether they be Muslim or non-Muslim. He has created within the men a natural ghayrah, if they are upon any degree of their fitra and natural protectiveness and jealousy over their women folk, lest they be abused and exploited, to look out for their best interest. This is something that is markuz fil fitr. This is something that is at the basis of just basic common sense that Allah creates within people. It is a very evil, pessimistic ideology that thinks the worst about Allah and the goodness that Allah has created naturally within people. I need to say that men are naturally toxic and that masculinity is naturally toxic and intrinsically toxic and harmful and destructive and so on and so forth. We say to our sisters and to those who are duped by such arguments that this goes against and it flies in the face of reality. And it flies in the face of reality and it flies in the face and it opposes what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the creation upon. Of akhlaq fadila karima, of a desire for guidance and well-being and protection for the women folk and for their families and so on and so forth. As the case with every nation, whether they have Islam or not. But they don't know the full details of until they have. They don't know how to truly implement until they have what Allah sent the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with. But just to, as a default principle, support the feminist agenda and that sort of thing, we say this is very unfortunate, it's very disturbing, and so many people can be fooled and be that ignorant about their religion as to be duped by such people. And we ask Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala to protect us and our children from the immoral, indecent agendas of such human devils.